What's good, family? It's your boy Jay Devon 9. When you are growing, you are changing. You know, some people act like change is a bad thing, but it's not a bad thing when it's a result of you growing. You feel what I'm saying? But those type of people who look at you, who deem it or perceive it to be a bad thing because you are changing, because you are growing, that is because they want to keep a perspective on you that they've always had. People who've known you for a long time, who've known you before you started to grow, are usually unwilling to see the new you, to accept the new version of you, the higher version of you, because they already got comfortable with the version of you that you were. So be aware of this and be mindful of this, that when you self-improve and you grow, you're going to change in certain ways. Certain things won't entertain you the same. Certain things just won't interest you the same. Your mindset will grow with you. So you may not be able to relate to people the same way that you did in the past. Y'all may not be able to have the same type of relationship because you're not the same person. So if they can't grow with you or adjust, then chances are that you are going to have to move away or outgrow. This is why they say you outgrow people, because the chances are you may have to outgrow that person, or you may outgrow each other, because that person could be growing as well. And maybe they can be growing into a person that doesn't align with the person you're growing into. And that's okay. This is why sometimes it is good to meet new people, because they only know the version of you that they met. They only know the version of you that you are when you meet them. People who known you for a very long time hold on to a certain perspective of you, a certain version of you, especially when they haven't grown that much themselves. And they're going to try to keep you there. They're going to try to talk you into being that type of person, or influence you into being that type of person, or they're going to only treat you as you're that type of person because that's all they can see you as. I've even noticed this with family members, to where I don't see them or interact with them as much as I used to when I was younger, to where when I still see them now, and that's just because, you know, life, you know, just being busy, whatever the case is, but when I do get the chance to see them and be around them, they talk to me or talk about me in aspects of a person I used to be. Sometimes they'll say things and I'll think to myself like, it's been years since I did that. I don't even do that no more. But you don't really even know that. You just have the, you know, time goes by so fast that you just think of me in that light. And no, I don't necessarily take offense to it, because I have an understanding of it. I understand why they think that or see things that way, but it's just interesting to me. Like, I'll give you a small example, because I don't want to expose too much of my personal life. But for example, a relative has said one time, the food came up in the conversation, whatever the case is, and the relative has said, oh yeah, Jay, he's never gonna eat the vegetables, or he never eats vegetables. How do you know that? I barely see you, or I'm barely around you. You barely are around me when I eat. That is not even true. But granted, some things are not worth your energy, or whatever the case is. You could simply say like, nah, that's not really true, like I do that, whatever the case is. But it didn't really matter. I didn't really care, because whatever. But the thing was, though, the fact of the matter is, it just wasn't true. And the funny thing is, the other relative who's around me more often has said, no, Jay's actually the only one who eats the vegetables when it's there. And I'm not trying to like big myself up like, oh yeah, you eat healthy. Like, I'm not the healthiest person in the world, but I'm trying to become more and more healthy. You know, there's certain things that I don't eat that I used to love. That's just another example where a certain family member may think they may offer me something that I probably used. Like, I haven't eaten pork in years. I used to love ribs when I was a kid. I used to love barbecue ribs. So a family member may think like, oh, I'm gonna offer to make some ribs for Jay, but like, I haven't eaten that in years. I don't eat that. You know what I'm saying? This is a small example, but you know, it's certain habits or certain tendencies that we have that a person may view you as, or have that perspective on you, that a tendency that you used to have, that you may not have anymore. Or they would never think that you would be a type of person to do a certain thing or do certain things that you do. You know what I mean? But now let's say even if the person was or is around you, they've been around you for the last couple years and they're witnessing the growth. A lot of times when they're witnessing phases of you changing or you deciding to do things differently or you deciding to pick up new habits, good habits, they're going to question it. To them, it's going to be like, what's going on? Like, why are you doing this? This is how people react to change. People love to be comfortable. They love familiarity. They probably won't initially react in a good way, depending on the person though. Depending on the person. There are people who you may motivate them. You may help bring them up with you. Or they just may be on the same time and y'all just may motivate each other. That does happen. More times than not, that's not going to be the case. You know what I'm saying? So just be mindful of that and be strong. Mindfulness and strength. You know what I'm saying? These are true leadership qualities. These are true necessary qualities when you are serious about self-improving or just growing or just self-love overall. Some people may see these type of things as cliche or cringy or corny, but generally you're only gonna see it that way if you're not on that timing, because that type of energy, that frequency of energy is not in tune with the frequency of energy that you're in, or that person. The person who views it as cringy or negative or corny, they're just not vibrating on that energy wave. Even though intuitively they'll understand that this is a positive thing and positivity obviously is good. That's kind of the definition of it. They're not gonna like it. Cringiness is really just being rubbed the wrong way. That's really what that is. Or that thinking that it's corny, it's rubbing you the wrong way. It's rubbing that person the wrong way. So have this understanding, family, that when you're on a path like this, it may even go as far as having haters. Not to necessarily say that a person who sees it as corny, I mean, some people would say that classifies as a hater, but I feel like there's levels to that, but they're gonna see it a certain way. That's just the case. You know what I mean? Like, that's just what it is. Like, it's gonna make them feel a type of way. People can't necessarily help how they feel if they're not mindful already of their emotions and how to influence that themselves. And even if you are, it's easier said than done, especially because we weren't taught this as children growing up. We're creatures of habits, so they may just be stuck in certain habits, even though intuitively they can intellectualize what you're doing is a positive thing. It may still make them feel a negative emotion. And when you feel a way, you can't fake the funk. It's just gonna show. However you feel, it's gonna show eventually. You know what I mean? Like, it's gonna come out. So yeah, family, always remember that. Always be strong and stand on your beliefs and stand on your improvement. Stand on your growth. Stand on your decisions. Don't be afraid to outgrow people, because like I said, as people, we love familiarity. It's easy to get comfortable. Don't let that hold you back, because you may be on your way to something greater.